Revelation chapter 14, we're going to start with verse 6. It says, "And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of water. And there flowed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she has made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb." I'm going to stop right there. We'll see.
Good.
Yeah,
We started last Wednesday. We started on Babylon. Remember, I said we would talk about Babylon tonight, and then next week we'll talk about Armageddon, because we're going to get into Armageddon. And verse 8 opens up Babylon, and it's only one verse. Know that looking ahead now, most of chapter 17 and chapter 18 is about Babylon. But we're going to start here, and there's just so much to be said. But in chapter 17 and chapter 18, they introduce some more characters that we've got to dive into, and we don't have the time to spend on Babylon. If we remember last week, we talked about Genesis chapter 11, 1 through 9. We talked about the Tower of Babel. We went to Jeremiah 51. We'll go again to Jeremiah 51 tonight. Isaiah chapter 13. We'll go again to Isaiah tonight. Just how much we'll get done, I don't know. But I got down here, Babylon is referenced 280 times in the Bible.
Wow.
So the reference to Babylon 280 times is referenced in the Bible. So
280, yeah.
280. Yeah, 280 times
280.
talking about Babylon. There's no city on the earth today that was like Babylon. New York or Paris or London, nothing is like the Babylon of the Bible. No city is as great today as it was the Babylon in the Bible. We'll talk a little bit about that. And now this, we're going to show pictures and stuff tonight about Babylon of old, and then we're going to talk about the new Babylon, and where is it going to be, and who's going to occupy it, and we're going to talk about the great people that occupied the Babylon of old. So I'll read here again for just verse 8. I'm going to read it. Then another angel followed him through the sky, shouting, and I think this is the second angel. Yes, yeah. Then another angel followed him through the sky, shouting, Babylon is fallen, the great city is fallen, because she made all the nations of the world drink the wine of her passionate immorality. And we talked about the cup of wine, or the God's judgment cup. So, okay, if you would, while I go here, I'm going to put this over here. Somebody turn to, we'll just have Debbie turn to Isaiah chapter 47, and we'll have two or three of them. 47 is a big verse, so big chapter. We won't just have one person go there. So just everybody go to Isaiah chapter 47. If we get to that, we'll get to that. Okay, so we're going to bring some pictures up here. First of all, in Genesis chapter 11, 1 through 9, we talked about the Tower of Babel. Okay, do you see the Tower of Babel here? Now remember, everybody in Genesis chapter 11, everybody spoke the same language. Everybody on earth spoke the same language. I don't know what that language was. And so you had a guy named Nimrod. Did we mention Nimrod's name last week? I don't know whether we did or not. We had this guy named Nimrod, who was a great warrior, a great man, and he decided to build a tower to God. Now you'd think that would be a good thing. You'd want him to build a tower to God, but he didn't build a tower to God because he wanted to worship God. He built a tower to God because he wanted to live in heaven and be as God. So you have this guy, and so God decided that he wasn't going to let them build this tower, because he said, if they get together and decide, all of them get on one mind and one accord, deciding to do one thing, there's not anything they can accomplish. So now we'll go back to the first one. Or did we go back
That's
to
it.
Oh, that's it. I'm sorry. There it is. I'm moved around on this. I'm sorry. And so they started building this tower. There's the Tower of Babel, and he was going to build it to heaven. And so God stopped him, and he changed languages. So this is where we have all kinds of different languages today on this earth. We have Spanish, and we have English, and we have Italian, and we have Arabic, and we have Chinese, and we have Japanese. So there's where all the different languages come from. And so they confused themselves, and they couldn't build the tower. Now, there's other towers. This is the ancient Tower of Babel that was in the city of Babylon. All right, we'll go with the next tower.
So this is the European Union Parliament building. It's modeled after the Tower of Babel, right? So very, very interesting stuff. You can see it. It almost looks like it's not quite completed. There's a picture up here right beside it that shows maybe the two. Yeah, go ahead and click on that one for me, Chip. They're side by side, just trying to give you a picture, a reference. There's another one over there with the Tower of Babel inside the European Union inside the Tower of Babel. Anyways, there's a slogan. If you would scroll down for me, Chip, a little bit on this one. Looking for a poster. There you go. That's the poster right there. Basically, they were talking about the people coming together with one voice, which is what the Tower of Babel. Everybody spoke the same language. So out of many nations, one voice kind of thing was the gist of their slogan, trying to bring people together. I mean, it was evil. Nimrod was evil. He was disobeying God. God said to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth, replenish the earth, keep going. And instead they decided to stay in one location and not spread out and build a tower to heaven. I mean, they were being disobedient. The first Antichrist picture right there is Nimrod. So this is based on his design. Go ahead and give me the next tab for me. This is the Tower of Babel. I believe this is Amazon. It's called the Helix Building, and I believe they're building it and talking about building it. I think it's New York City. Anyways, again, similarly modeled after, at least strangely modeled after. They won't tell us yet whether it's on purpose or not. The Tower of Babel, and that's the new building that they're putting up right in the middle of the city. So the European Union Parliament building it's up right now. You understand? And it's many nations. They saw all the flags out in the front. This is a building they're working on putting up. So this spirit, this Tower of Babel, this Antichrist spirit of Nimrod, I mean, it's alive and well today. As well, we're reading in the Bible. But if you needed any more proof, there's the buildings of the old Tower of Babel. One's up, one's going up. It's just sad. It's just real sad. Go ahead.
Well, we know that Babylon had been destroyed, but we know there's going to be a new Babylon because it's going to be destroyed again in tribulations during the Revelation period. So is one of these two cities going to be the new Babylon, or is this just people that want to be the new the king of the world, or the head of the nations? Don't know that to be, but as you see, it's going to be easy. It's going to be easy for us to see that Babylon's going to be rebuilt, or a city's going to be renamed Babylon, and it's going to be the capital city of the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see that up there. So there's some guys wanting to be the king. They're wanting to build their Tower of Babel. They want to be the head of the whole world, and they're here today. You know, whether they'll be the ones or there'll be one come out in the future, I don't know. But as you can see, there's people already want to be the head of the world. They want to be the Antichrist. They want to be the person that's going to run this world. Isn't that it's amazing? Okay.
Go ahead to the next tab. How far down the list are we going before we do them all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do them so. Because I want to donate this whole session to Babylon. Okay, so
Ancient Babylon.
Ancient Babylon. Show us. Pull up one of them a little bit bigger so they can see it. It doesn't make it. This is here's fine. That there's fine. That's good. Yeah. All right. So this is the ancient city of Babylon. Now remember, there was no city like this city. In the height of its glory, Nebuchadnezzar was the king. He didn't start the city of Babylon. Of course, he went and took it over. He was a conqueror. But there's another picture, and you see the Tower of Babel over there in the center. So so Nebuchadnezzar had the city. There's a moat that he's got around the city. He built a moat around the city, and it's just a beautiful city. Again, in today's world, now that might have been a city then of like 200,000 people. You think that's incredible that there was a city that big, but there's no city as luxurious or as to make people as rich, and there's no city like the city of Babylon in the world today. None. But there will be. There'll be a new Babylon where everybody goes there is going to get rich. Everybody goes there is going to have their heart's desires fulfilled. Of course, it's going to be evil heart's desires.
If you would scroll down a little before we chip, keep going. We'll look for stop right around there. That one over there, ancient city of Babylon. They were paved streets, something that we're trying to look for. Way back then, their streets were paved.
Wow.
Could you imagine back in Nebuchadnezzar's day, he paved the streets?
That's amazing.
I don't know how many miles out there when it was called the Possession Road. I forget now what it was called. But anyway, the streets were paved for miles to come to the city, so people could travel to the city of Babylon. Wow.
Interesting stuff.
Okay.
The next tab, yep.
Oh, the Hanging Gardens. Okay. They have the 7 wonders of the world. I don't know what the 7 wonders of the world are, but one of the 7 wonders of the world is the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. There's a beautiful picture of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Again, that was under Nebuchadnezzar. There's some say that he built that Hanging Gardens for his wife or one of his wives, and that's where she stayed. But anyway, it was. What about the 7 gardens? I don't know. There's different pictures of it, but it's considered one of the 7 wonders of the world, where you have a desert area and everything around it's desert, and then you come in there and you have the supposedly the most beautiful gardens of anywhere ever, supposedly ever in the history of gardens. This was one of the most beautiful gardens. So it's again, this was in Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar's rule, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. And it probably was a gift to his wife, one of his wives.
All right, the Ishtar Gates, the next one.
All right. Okay, this is you saw before there, you saw the Ishtar Gate. This is the entrance to the city of Babylon. You see that it's blue and stuff. I think back several years ago, archaeologists went in there and they dug up the gate. You can see how big it is. Is there people standing there? But it's just huge. You see all the stuff is huge, and so now it's in Berlin. Is it Berlin?
Yeah.
It's in one of the museums in Berlin. It's still in existence today. They gathered it up and they took the huge giant gates of Babylon, the entrance to the city. Remember the paved streets and the entrance to the city, and it just look how beautiful it is, how carved it is, and of course the blue stone. I mean, where did you find stuff like that? Nebuchadnezzar, of course. No, he was at his time. He was the richest person in the world at his time. He spared no expense to build the city the way he wanted to build it. And there is the beautiful gates of Babylon, and the Ishtar Gate to come into the city. And it is gorgeous. It's huge, tremendously huge.
So are you saying that one of the pictures we saw previously that looked like this, but all in sand color, is actually this gate, this walkway here, or an entrance to get to that?
Yes, this was one of the pictures showed the blue gate. I don't know which one it was, but he showed.
Yeah, I don't know which one. Oh, there you go. Yeah,
there you go. There you go.
There you go. Thank you.
There you go. There's the city. As you come into to the city, you see the buildings on the left and the right. As you get closer to closer, there's huge buildings on the outside, but it's a paved street down through the beautiful city, and then you had to go through the gates. Of course, he had all kinds of army and guards and all that kind of stuff, but there's a beautiful gated city of Babylon, and there you see back in the back on the top right, that could be the Tower of the Babel. But he had many temples he built. I forget what the god's name, Moloch, or I can't remember what the god's name that he worshipped. Of course, we know that he finally worshipped the God of heaven. You know, at the end, I think the 7th chapter of Daniel, finally he worshipped the God of heaven. But he had built all kinds of temples and amphitheaters We haven't got time to show the temples and amphitheaters, but I mean, they were still in existence just until several years ago, and of course they've been all destroyed now. But you imagine this was way back 500 and some BC. I mean, this is years and years ago. All right.
All right, if you go to Babylon today.
All right. You guys know I was in Iraq. Babylon is somewhere between Baghdad and Basra. I started out in Baghdad, and of course I ended up my career in Iraq and Basra. So this is about 80, 90 miles from south of Baghdad. Go back to there you go. That's what it was when I was over there. This is what was left of Babylon. There's Babylon.
So
He said
when you say you were over there, give a time frame, roughly.
in the 70s. Yeah.
Did you say that?
No. We put a pipeline through there,
Oh, okay.
but my company did it, but I never did go there.
Right.
You know, I saw what was supposed to be the Garden of Eden, and I mean, I saw all those places.
Wow.
But when they showed me the picture of Babylon, I said, well, there ain't much there to see. So I did not go there. But that's the way it looked like when I was over there. Okay,
All right.
that's Babylon.
Go ahead. Yep. Saddam Hussein's.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, so you guys heard of a guy named Saddam Hussein?
Oh, yeah.
He thought he was the second coming of Nebuchadnezzar. Now let me say this, that Nebuchadnezzar, that was where his worldly empire was Babylon. Then you heard of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great, that's where his worldly empire was going to be, would be Babylon. But then, of course, he died. And so here comes along this guy named Saddam Hussein, and he decides he's the second coming of Nebuchadnezzar, and he tries to rebuild Babylon in its original state. So several people have tried to rebuild it, and there's this big old tower. You see his tower with his picture on it. I just think it's unbelievable. And of course, he has his writings and stuff on there, and they're very profound writings, you know, in the ancient city of Babylon.
All right. We're gonna show you just a little video of what that would look like, just about a minute's worth.
Oh yeah, here you go. You'll enjoy this here, guys.
Who today remembers the legends of the grandeur that was ancient Babylon? President Saddam is one who does. Indeed, for the president of modern-day Iraq, ancient Babylon has more than mere historical
It's
significance.
a huge wall.
This is the southern palace of King Nebuchadnezzar. In the 6th century BC, he was the Middle East's top dog. And this is the throne room of King Nebuchadnezzar, the ruler of the greatest empire the world had known until this time. And he made sure that everyone did know about it too.
You can see some inscriptions and signs of Nebuchadnezzar listed as it is. The translation of this inscription: "I'm Nebuchadnezzar, the king of the world. Reconstruct this building to my family and to my God. I hope to help me in the lower life, that's me in the deep life." He liked to put his stamp on all the bricks together in Babylon.
There's a big
The
old.
palace was rebuilt by President Saddam. He sees Nebuchadnezzar as the first Iraqi revolutionary and a man to emulate. It says, in the era of President Saddam Hussein, all Babylon was reconstructed in 3 stages, from Nebuchadnezzar to Saddam Hussein.
There you go. That's pretty good. So this is the 90s.
Yeah, this is the 90s, of course. Now, guys, that's not there today. Saddam Hussein got ahead of God a little bit. God's not ready for them to rebuild the city of Babylon, so there's been a couple of wars in there. Even America was over there. And most of this walls that you see now have been bombed and destroyed by the Iranians or the, what's that group, ISIS. So most of this stuff has been destroyed. But also, besides building the Nebuchadnezzar's temple, or his palace, Saddam Hussein built his own palace. So we have Saddam Hussein's palace.
We're just going to specifically show you his throne room in his palace. This is Saddam Hussein's throne room. No sound, please. Saddam Hussein's throne room in his palace. And over here it would be where he would have the throne. That specifically was the throne that he would sit on when his throne was there. And this is the big throne room area off of that big old balcony. Anyways, it's a whale of a place. You can go ahead and cut it from there.
You see the graffiti on the walls. You know, I mean, You jump in there. He took and he moved a river, and if you look outside of his palace, you got on the patio where the pool and stuff is. It overlooks Babylon. He moved a river and everything, so the river would run past his palace. And of course, he never got it completely finished. And what he did get finished, they bombed it, and they come in there and they desecrated it, and But you can go. It's this. Now this part is still standing. You can go visit Saddam Babylonian Palace in Babylon. Yet today, you can go visit this. This guy here this is 2019 or 2020 that this guy visited this place. But again, he got ahead of God. God wasn't ready. God wasn't ready for him to build his temple yet. There's no doubt that Babylon's going to be rebuilt. But you guys know the ending of Saddam Hussein.
If you would, right here, the guy walks out of the palace.
Oh yeah, that's great.
And he overlooks this view right here. And what he's going to point out to you is that's Babylon.
Yeah, that's Babylon now.
So
In 2020.
Yeah, this is what he's getting at. Again, we're just for background noise and various other language we're putting it out there. This guy did a good job, but there's others. Anyways, there's Babylon.
What's left of it?
What's left of it? What's left of the walls and stuff that we showed you.
You get him turned around if you can, and let him look back at the palace on the outside. If he does, if you've got that part there, when he looks back on the palace, and you see how big this palace is, millions of dollars, billions of dollars, I don't know, but it keeps on going. That palace is huge.
Wow.
I don't know how much he spent on the palace, but 500 million, a couple, I don't know, but he built it. But now it's just, it's
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody funded it. I don't know who funded it, but
yeah.
Anyhow, I think. Oh, there's there he was showing you the river.
Yeah, that's what I guess about the river, if you can see that. I just saw
There
that.
again is how big he's at. He's on the other side of it. Again, that's a balcony jetting out up there
Yeah.
for him to step out of his room and look at the river.
Wow.
Anyways, it is. There you go. There's the river that he moved to run past his palace.
Yeah, there you go. There's the river.
Wow, that's a big river.
No small river. He hadn't moved.
Yeah, running on a stream here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So, yeah.
Okay, all right. So we'll talk a little bit about. I got the Hanging Gardens, the Tower of Babel, the door of God. That Ishtar door, of course, was supposed to be the door to God. I forgot to tell you that, but yeah, Ishtar Gate, palaces of King Nebuchadnezzar, the Lion of Babylon. That's somewhere. I don't know where the Lion of Babylon is, but it's a big statue of a lion. All the temples, all the amphitheaters, the paved roads. Okay, we'll start here in a little bit. Again, Saddam Hussein thought he was the second coming of Nebuchadnezzar, tried to rebuild Babylon. Alexander the Great planned to make Babylon the capital of his palace. Around 539 BC, this thing gets destroyed. The Babylonians themselves, now I want to read this part to you, and then we're going to read some out of the Bible, and just stop me because it can go on and on and on. I don't know whether... I tell you what, go to Jeremiah instead of Isaiah, because I can see now we don't have time to go to Jeremiah, if you would. The Babylonians themselves strangled many of their wives and children to keep them from starving to death, or during the siege of being taken as slaves by the Persians. So Darius, the King Darius the Persian, he goes in there and he destroys Babylon, and he captures the people. And was it Cyrus? Cyrus was one of them, Darius was both of them. Whichever one it was. Okay, so we'll go on. But so they wouldn't starve to death. They strangled and killed their children, so their children wouldn't become slaves, but they also used their children for food and their wives for food. That's how bad it was there. After the city was defeated, Herodias says that city gates were pulled down, and around 3,000 of the leading citizens were impaled upon the walls. All right, Debbie, Jeremiah 51, 1 through 14. Jeremiah, everybody turn to Jeremiah 51. I'll try to get there myself. It's on the other side of Daniel, if you get to Daniel, because there's Daniel talks about it too, but he's on the other side.
The lion is behind you.
Huh?
The lion is behind you.
Oh, you got the lion. Thank you. I didn't know we had that. There's the lion that was left. They got the lion and saved it. There's the ancient Iraqi lion of Babylon. There it is. I don't know where it's at, but they've got it somewhere. And all the great big things that Nebuchadnezzar did. All right, we've got Jeremiah. Fire away there, Debbie.
This is what the Lord says. I will stir up a destroyer against Babylon and the people of Babylonia. Foreigners will come and renown her, blowing her away as chaff. They will come from every side to rise against her in her day of trouble. Don't let the archers put on their armor or draw their bows. Don't spare even her best soldiers. Let her army be completely destroyed. They will fall dead in the land of Babylonians, slashed to death in her streets. Where the Lord of heaven's armies has not abandoned Israel and Judah. He is still their God, even though their lands was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee from Babylon. Save yourself. Don't get trapped in her punishment. It is the Lord's time for vengeance. He will repay her in full. Babylon has been a gold cup in the Lord's hands, a cup that made the whole earth drunk. The nations drank Babylon's wine, and it drove them all mad. But suddenly Babylon too has fallen. Weep for her, give her medicine, perhaps she can yet be healed. We would have helped her if we could, but nothing can save her now. Let her go, abandon her. Return now to your own land, for her punishment reaches to the heavens. It is so great it cannot be measured. The Lord has vindicated us. Come, let us announce in Jerusalem everything the Lord our God has done. Sharpen the arrows, lift up the shields, for the Lord has inspired the kings of the Medes to march against Babylon and destroy her. This is his vengeance against those who desecrate his temple. Raise the battle flag against Babylon. Reinforce the guard and station the watchmen. Prepare an ambush, for the Lord will fulfill all his plans against Babylon. You are a city by a great river, a great center of commerce, but your end has come. The thread of your life is cut. The Lord of heaven's army has given this vow and has sworn to it by his own name. Your cities will be filled with enemies, like fields swarming with locusts, and they will shout in triumph over you.
You're in bad shape when the Lord swears by his own name that he's going to destroy you. You're in bad shape. Cassie, you want to read? You're still in chapter 51, 20 through 35.
You are my battle axe and sword, says the Lord. With you I will shatter nations and destroy many kingdoms. With you I will shatter armies, destroying the horse and rider, the chariot and charioteer. With you I will shatter men and women, old people and children, young men and young women. With you I will shatter shepherds and flocks, farmers and oxen, captains and officers. I will reply Babylon and the people of Babylonia for all the wrong they have done to my people in Jerusalem, says the Lord. Look, O mighty mountain, destroyer of the earth. I am your enemy, says the Lord. I will raise my fist against you to knock you down from the heights when I am finished. You will be nothing but a heap of burnt rubble. You will be desolate forever. Even your stones will never again be used for building. You will be completely wiped out, says the Lord. Raise a signal flag in the nations, sound the battle cry. Mobilize them all against Babylon. Prepare them to fight against her. Bring out the armies of Arad, Me, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a commander, and bring a multitude of forces like swarming lichens. Bring against her the armies of the nations, led by the kings of the Medes, and all their captains and officers. They stay in their barricades, their courage gone. They have become like women. The invaders have burned the houses and broken down the city gates. The news is passed from one runner to the next as the messengers hurry to tell the king that his city has been captured. All the escape routes are blocked. The marshes have been set aflame, and the army is in a panic. This is what the Lord of Heaven's armies, the God of Israel, says. Babylon is like wheat on a threshing floor about to be trampled. In just a little while, her harvest will begin. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon has eaten and crushed us and drained us of strength. He has swallowed us like a great monster and filled his belly with our riches. He has thrown us out of our own country. Make Babylon suffer as she made us suffer, says the people of Zion. Make the people of Babylonia pay for spilling our blood, says Jerusalem.
Okay, I'm not going to go any further. I've got so much scripture, but I will encourage you to read Isaiah chapter 47, read Revelation 17, Revelations 18, and read all of Jeremiah chapter 51. But we know that the great city of Babylon has been destroyed. There's no city was like it in the world. But we also know that this city is either going to be rebuilt or there's going to be a city renamed Babylon, you know. And then we'll get into that, the 10 kings and the harlot and all that kind of stuff. We'll get into that and where that city will be. But now you think about that, how great this city was, none greater in the history of the world. And there's going to be a city, it's going to be built or renamed, and they're going to be destroyed again permanently. Now, old Babylon now, you know, is between Baghdad and Basra, south of Baghdad. So you know where it's at. That's all rubble. They tried to rebuild it. As you can see, it's been tried to rebuild. God will not allow it to be rebuilt. Not there, at least not now. Either not there or not now, whatever the case may be. But it's going to be rebuilt, guys. And whoever the Antichrist is going to set up his kingdom there. That's where his headquarters is going to be. And that's where he's going to rule the earth from, is this Babylon. Wow. And then it's going to be destroyed. And you'll see more about that in Revelation 17 and 18. And God gives us some glimpses on some of the participants, some of the characters. And we'll talk about those characters when we get there. But you guys, think about where you think Babylon might or might not be. I told you where it was, you know. But there ain't nothing over there now. I mean, nothing to look at. You know, and they're still fighting over there. And if the terrorist groups have the way, they'll destroy everything over there. They want to destroy all the culture. They want to destroy all the history. They want to destroy everything. And if they have the way, they'll destroy it all. So for it to be preserved, some of these things to be preserved, they've had to get it out of the country and go to museums in other parts of the world. I mean, it's just... Anyway, any questions? You got something?
Where's Saudi Arabia compared to all this?
It's right there, you know. Yeah, Saudi Arabia. I was there. You know, I spent about 6 months in Saudi Arabia.
Sorry, I was just watching.
I was there.
I was just watching. You guys go on YouTube or whatever. Look it up later. It's the city called the Line.
The Lion.
The Line, Lion, Line. It's a linear city. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia plans on building a city over 100 miles long in a straight line.
Wow.
I just thought about it when you were telling me they're going to rebuild the city. They're trying to do that right now. He just announced in January that they were going to build this city. Again, it's going to be a straight line. It's going to be three layers tall, as in underground, ground level, and up. And it's pretty amazing when you read what he's talking about. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just putting the pieces together. It's literally 100. It's 170 kilometers, but that's over 100 miles, 105 miles long in a straight line. Yeah. And there's going to be nature, and I mean, it's in the middle of nothing, but he's going to make it something spectacular, according to what he says. So,
if you read about this guy, this prince, you read about this guy. He's a guy on the horizon now. This is. We don't hear much about him for some reason. I don't know why. But if you read about this guy, he's one of them now. I mean,
Yeah, look this city up on
Yeah.
YouTube when you go home or something. I mean, seriously, it's
Yeah.
pretty neat. All right.
All right. Well, anyway, there's some characters out there, guys, and they're all out there. They want to be the head man. I don't know that any of these guys are going to be him, but I mean the fake antichrist or whatever you want to call it's out there. Keep your eyes open. Get this message out. Send it out. Like it, share it, subscribe to it. Anybody you know needs to hear this. I mean, some great stuff. It's all through the Bible. We give you the scriptures. Pick up the scriptures and read them. Read what it was like in the history and read what it's going to be like in the future. It's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen, you know. And God made a vow. You know, I mean, God made a vow. Wow. Yeah, wow. So, like, share, and subscribe.